NFL line moves early on here in week number 8. A lot of injuries to be concerned about. A few of them related to the quarterback position. And the biggest one is Jaden Daniels with Washington. They are hosting Chicago this week. When you look at the look ahead, it was the Commanders favored by 2.5. They take care of business this weekend over Carolina. The Bears do not play. And now the Bears are a 2.5-point road favorite. Those road favorites keep on covering. Bears minus 2.5. We don't know what's happening with Jaden Daniels. First injury report of the week comes out tomorrow.
Well, the market is even more clear today than it was yesterday that Jaden
Mm-hmm.
Daniels continues to go in the wrong direction. Look at the total. The total in Vegas on Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, opened 48. BetMGM has a 44. Superbook has 43.5. So
Whew.
the total has already moved 4 to 4.5 points down. If you think that they think Jaden Daniels is playing, you are mistaken. Now, if we see this bounce back up, if the 43.5 and the 44 gets hit back to 46, 47, those moves will be indicative of a return for Jaden Daniels. But you have wiggle room now, Joe. You are sitting pretty if you're the Washington football team. Why would you rush back a rookie quarterback with a rib issue? I don't understand why you would do it. You're 5-2. You have a plus 66 point differential. You actually moved the ball pretty well with Mariota, although Carolina is atrocious. And your
Mm-hmm.
defense has been good, surprisingly good. Dan Quinn has been able to fix a lot of things there. So it doesn't sound like they're going to rush him back. I don't know that for sure. I'm just reading the board. When the total opens 48 and gets bet down to 43.5 by Tuesday, that is smart people telling you they do not think Daniels is in.
Is the defense good, or was that about the Panthers? A few weeks ago, it was the Cleveland Browns. It was Arizona. Was it the schedule just lightening up?
Both?
That's my question.
Maybe
Yeah,
both?
it's probably a little bit of column A and column B. That's what it usually ends up being. But yeah, this is the biggest potential mover. And then, okay, let's say Daniels is out. Mariota, you're starting against the top 5 defense in the NFL. A lot of pressure on you. Let's see what you can do. And to your point about spot wise, why would you force it with so much football to go? It's a non-divisional matchup. I know it's getting hype because it's pick 1 against pick number 2, and that's what people wanted, TV ratings, all that stuff. But in the end, what is it? Does it really matter? I guess the rebuttal to that would be they're going to fight the Bears for a playoff spot, right? That would be the argument. That could be a tiebreaker down the road, Bears Commanders. But that's really all you could come up with. But is it worth it in week number 8 with so much football to go against a top-notch defense? I don't know that it is. So certainly a good point there. If it's Mariota, where's this number go? If we're 2.5 before having clarity on potentially the offensive rookie of the year, a top 5 guy in the MVP race in recent weeks. If we're 2.5 there, where does it go now? If they're playing halfway, there's more to this move.
I would think it's through 3. Not that much. I mean, certainly not 4.5, 5, because you'd get buyback on Washington. Let's remember the look ahead was Washington minus 2.5. Now it's Chicago 2.5. That's a 5-point move already. I don't think
Right.
it's that much more. You get to 3. I mean, it's Tuesday. We haven't even seen these parlays and moneyline parlays come in yet on Chicago. If he's ruled out, this has to go through 3. I think 3.5.
Three
Three
and a
and a
half,
half
4.
feels fair.
What I
Maybe
landed on.
4.
Yeah.
Look, I'm thinking about betting Chicago already. I don't love road favorites. Talk about things lining up for a certain team. Chicago in the last 3 weeks has played a crippled
Wow.
Rams team, Carolina, and then Jacksonville. Now you get the Commanders without Jaden Daniels potentially. You can only play who's in front of you. But man, is that is that schedule break 101 for Chicago. Rams, Panthers, Jags, Commanders potentially with no rookie of the year.
It's a juice 2.5, and a square book already went to 3. So we're going to keep going. So 4. Now you're at 6.5. We could be talking about, if he's out, it's a touchdown move. I do think that is certainly possible there. You know, we've got some double-digit numbers this week. Holy cow.
3 of them.
We've got
3 of them.
3 of them. 3 of them. So Detroit hosting Tennessee. That is out to 11. A sharp book saying 11.5. So how far is that going to run? You've got Baltimore, a 10.5 point road favorite. 10.5 point road favorite at Cleveland. And some spots have Kansas City double digits, divisional matchup at Vegas. Whew. Monster numbers. These 2 of them are road favorites.
Do we get Jameis in Cleveland?
Yeah, I don't think they have another option.
I'm not laying 10.5. After Baltimore just won by 1,000,000 points on Monday night, and now Lamar's the MVP favorite. Historically, we've been doing this a long time. Historically, this is the point to bet against Baltimore. The problem with that is that we have to back Cleveland. But, I mean, everything that we've learned, I don't want to speak for you, but when Baltimore wins by, well, they were up 3 touchdowns, and then Tampa Bay rallied back, final score 41-31. When Baltimore does that on a Monday night and everybody watches it, and Lamar is now the MVP favorite, everything in my body, everything in my body says it's time to bet against. But these dogs have been so bad. I was texting with a Chicago buddy last night who books bets.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we're getting slaughtered. We're getting slaughtered. They're betting against the worst teams, and they're parlaying all the teams that are playing bad teams, and they are destroying us. And as somebody who's done this for 15 years, I can tell you it is not that easy. It might appear that easy right now in the last week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It is not as easy to take a Super Bowl contender off a Monday night blowout and just lay the points the next week. It is not that easy until it is, I guess.
Yeah. What were those people saying 3 weeks ago? That's what I want to go back to, too. When we were celebrating and having a nice start, what were those people doing? How many wins this year do the Ravens have by more than 10, which is what they would need to cover this point spread? How many wins?
I'm going to guess 1.
They
beat Buffalo pretty handily, too. 2.
That was the one.
By more than 10 or by double digits? Because they beat Tampa by 10.
Because we're at 10.5. Yep, that's it. That's the game. I don't want to bet Cleveland. I don't want to bet Cleveland. I didn't say I can't. I said I don't want to, but I'm going to have to. Are we just going to take all these double-digit dogs? Is that what we're going to do?
And then they go 0-3.
They're going to go 0-3. Yeah. Parlay the other side. Protect ourselves. Yeah.
I mean, last week it's simple. You parlay Buffalo against Tennessee, and whatever. Let's move on. Vegas. Vegas did cover. Vegas has a coach that kicks field goals down 8.
With 2:50 left.
Here we are. How sick are these fools? It's Tuesday, and they're talking about betting all the double-digit dogs.
Dude, these numbers this week, it tells you, it screams, hey, if I were to look at this board, I'd be like, oh, man, the favorites must be going nuts. Okay, I think that's a good point you made a moment ago. Based off what we know, all of our years of betting. So what happens? Public kicks ass for 2 weeks. So what's the board going to do? Without even looking at it, there's going to be some big point spreads because the public's kicking ass. That means all the favorites are in, which means we're getting free points, right? We're getting value on the other side. And now we have to decide, where are we getting the most amount of value? So not only do we have 3 games that are double digits, let's see, I see 1, to 3 that are at least a touchdown. One is at 6.5, knocking on 7. And that 6.5 is the Pittsburgh Steelers, favored by 6.5. Holy cow.
Whew.
So, yeah, Chargers are favored by 7.5. The Denver Broncos are favored by 8. The New York Jets are favored by 7.5 at one spot on the road. So we have to figure out, okay, which ones are off? Which ones is it just they're just bumping the favorite up way too high? That's our job this week. That is the mission.
If we're betting numbers, not teams, we're betting Tennessee and we're betting Cleveland. I'm not saying like let's just bet bad football teams, but if we're betting good numbers, Detroit's look ahead against Tennessee was 9.5. Now it's 11.5. We would take, like, people that are betting good numbers are going to be taking Tennessee and taking 10.5 at home with Cleveland. At home with a game totaled at 42. 42. And you can get 10.5 points. The problem is people don't want to bet these teams. People don't want to bet Tennessee and they don't want to bet Cleveland. And I completely understand. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I would do. I would take both, if not, well, I would take definitely one of those teams, if not both. But I've gone 2-8 in my last 10 NFL picks of the contest. I was in first place 3 weeks ago, and now I'm in the middle because all the favorites are hitting. I'm not complaining, like people don't want to hear me complain, but I'm just trying to explain what I would do. I would take a lot of points. I mean, Joe, these games aren't even totaled in the high 40s. Forget 50, forget 51, 54. Tennessee, Detroit is totaled at 45, 45.5. And you get 11.5.
What about Miami?
I hate myself. Why do I think this way?
I do too. Arizona wins at home late last night. Now they've got to go to Miami. We expect it to be Tua. This Mike McDaniel team is favored by 3 at home, playing awful ball. But Tua changes everything, apparently. Is he going to continue to get the fullback and tight end all of the work? Is that what's going to happen? Or are we just going to go back to the normal offense now, like it should be with Tyreek and Waddle?
Tua seems pretty smart. I think when Tua takes the snap, he looks for Hill and Waddle, unlike Huntley and Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle, so funny. Not funny during the game, but looking back, me realizing on a Sunday that I need Tim Boyle magic to get me to the window. And Tim Boyle takes the snap and is staring down Jonnu Smith on every play. When you have Hill and Waddle and then Achane running for 5 yards of carries on the bench. It was like the Benny Hill theme. Crazy. That said, guess what the Sharps did? They laid some 3 to 3.5 on Miami. Oh yeah. I know. We're going to be on the ugliest teams this week. We're going to be on Miami and Tennessee.
Arizona's not a bad idea. Yeah.
And Cleveland.
Here's one I will not do.
Carolina.
A big dog. I will not do. Nope, not Carolina.
Oh, who else?
I will not do Vegas.
Okay.
The Raiders were making fun of Patrick Mahomes this offseason. Remember that video?
I do.
I don't know when these Pierce teams are going to show up. We keep wondering, is he losing the locker room more and more? Now, the Raiders beat the Chiefs last year straight up. They beat them. But they might have something special for the Raiders this week. Don't you think?
Here's another one that'll make you barf. Dallas +5 at San Francisco.
I know. I was looking at that. Dallas off the bye. It's like San Francisco. They don't have anybody. They have nobody. What do? We just talked about how much we hate every game. That's what we just did here on BetQL Daily. This is the BetQL Network.